Good day, everyone, and welcome to another lecture on our course. And I hope that you were able to make your attendance and you were able to comply with other requirements I have set for the past couple of days. And I hope in this video, you will learn about the importance of tourism on the various aspects of our life in the tourism industry. And try to imagine yourself being part of this industry. When I say you being part of the industry, is that you already working or you are in business in this industry. You know, for a fact that since early 2020 or even late 2019, the country, actually the entire world, came into a sudden halt. When we say halt, gani, ihunong ug kalit. That's why when the pandemic was declared by the World Health Organization or WHO, it wasn't just the tourism industry that was affected, it was the entire world. From the poorest to the richest, everyone was affected. But the question now is, what did we miss? Okay? Unsa may ato ang nakalimtan, unsa atong nabiyaan before the pandemic? In the Philippines, this is what they missed. And this is actually what we would aspire to be part of post-pandemic. Pasabot, mo ni atong gusto unta nga makuha or mahimot ng part when we will be able to already start working in the tourism industry. Tan-awa ninyong maayo, unsa kanindot ang Pilipinas, kung asa ka dapat pwede nga mahimong part ni ini. Tourism might be diha sa inyong locality, sa inyong lungsod o syudad. You can look for a tourism opportunity there. But the question now is, kung wala sa inyo wala diri sa probinsya, asa man ka pa do? Now, try to see for yourself, asa ka pwede.
Every day, the Philippines does more than wait. Putting together new adventures. And experiences for you to try. We're making our sites better for you to see. Cooking up new dishes for you to taste. And preparing cultural discoveries for you to feel. And we're not stopping. Because we know that you deserve more. We can't wait to welcome you.
All right, so that's the video of so that's the video of the Department of Tourism. That's actually a promotional video showing how they are trying their best to bring people to travel again, because pre-pandemic, pang pandemia, people were actually very attuned with traveling. Traveling was already part of their yearly activity sa ilahang business, sa ilahang trabaho, and their personal capacity, sa ilang kagulong mga budget, sa ilang kagulong mga time. Tourism is actually part of it na. So they have been aspiring na makontinue unta na siya nga regime. When we say regime, ang ilang naandan nga buhaton. But because of the pandemic, maratag na butang ta sa reset button. But thankfully, because of that reset button, dakan kay mga improvements sa ato ang tourism industry, and di lang kay sa atong tourism industry, but appeal na ang ubang aspects sa industry that needs, shall we say, matawag nato bang kining mga mga improvements. So let's see theoretically. When we say theoretically, based on academics and studies, atong tanawon unsa day mga importance of tourism. And ato ang dadon ang importance of tourism to the uh, post-pandemic situation karon, kung ma-apply bang gihapon nato kini mga sa post-pandemic situation. So the importance of tourism was developed long before the pandemic. But how can we see these importance of tourism na ato gihapon ma-apply karon o ato makita nga in action ba gihapon siya karon or mahimo ba gihapon ma-apply? And how we can translate this importance of tourism in our pandemic time into our advantage. Nga di lang ta mahadlok kanay pandemic, di ta mahadlok nga watay budget, mo na mangita tag paagi, we plan, we curate, we make a package, we make a plan with the pandemic at the backdrop unsaon nato pag-improve sa tourism situation sa usa ka lugar or we develop a new tourism activity. All right? So let me share to you my screen on the importance of tourism. All right? Okay, for a while. So, okay. All right, sige. So, sa importance of tourism, there are actually 5 based on this presentation. So, this is an industry of various industries which produce and provide services and products for the consumption tourists or travelers or tours. So the consumption which is created by tourism activities is fulfilled or served by these industries collective. So pasabot nakakaiwag industry nga nagtabang ni ining dahil kay nagtabang ni ining tourism industry. And we just hope and pray that we could be part of this tourism industry. So when we consider to be part of this industry, maningkamot gyud ta nga we know the various aspects of the industry or the facets or the phases of industry. Kay kung di kay wag ka kahibaw sa mga problema asa ka dapita mo sulod, for example, nga nagtuon matag history sir nga tourism atong gisgutan. Of course, because one of the most important facet of tourism is culture. If you don't understand the culture of the locality of the person, you cannot understand his or her needs. You can even develop a cultural experience if wala ka kay baw sa pag-approach a history. Tayo mo ingon mo nga history is chismis. Chismis alone, no. Probably it's a chismis before, but through verification, through science, it was verified this chismis is false or this chismis is true. So you don't just say things which are not properly put into context. The most important thing about anything is putting context to your discussion. My discussion right now is about history, geography, and tourism. But may sugot lang kag ubang mga butang in the previous semester we just discussed about Philippine history, then we focus about history in general. Karon kay naman sa tourism nga aspect, so we focus on the history of tourism and the history of tourism in relation to geography. So context is very important. And this part is that using tourism as a benchmark. When we say benchmark, mo isugdan in pulling together. When we say pulling, atong birahon together various industries to form what is now the tourism industry. So what are the 5 importance of tourism? Okay. Before that, these 2 phases, active and industry, which are basic characteristics of tourism, make tourism important for countries and economies. Besides, tourism brings tourists to a country who are very important as they bring foreign exchange earnings and also help countries improve their image and brand value in the world. So pasabot kung mulaag mga sa Pilipinas, ang imong hinumduman kanindot sa Pilipinas, di kay laing mga nasod hinumduman. So you hope when travelers come to the Philippines, especially foreign travelers, that when they go home to their countries, they would remember the Philippines and recommend Philippines as a travel option for their family and friends when they go home. So they are the ones who make destination popular and hence help in bring more tourists to destinations and thereof to a country. So ako pang giingon ninyo, bring more tourists back. So including the 2 characteristics highlighted as I have said, kaning gitawag nga active and industry, our topic today discusses the 5 importance of tourism. These are also the 5 basic characteristics of tourism industry, which make it very significant or important at the global level and equally for all the countries. So kini ako mga i-share ninyo nga 5 ka mga characteristics mo sa nigi-consider sa ubang mga countries as they develop the tourism industry. These 5 traits and importance of tourism are what distinguishes tourism from other industries. Okay? So mao ni ang mo-distinguish sa tourism with other industries. These are the reasons why countries are giving so much importance to tourism and working hard to bring growth to inbound tourism. So what are the 5? Number 1, tourism activity creates demand. It creates demand. Tourism is important as an individual activity or touring and traveling because it involves consumption and commercial activities at each step. All right? So sa pasabot ani makigalaan, no? Ilabi na ning last part nga giingon siya dinhi nga consumption and commercial activities at each step. Okay? So it is important ni siyang characteristic. It creates demand because tourism was, well, it is there long before. Nana ni mga forms of tourism before, but it was more on travel, business. But when people discover that you can get away from your normal place, you escape your normal dwelling, asa kagatrabaho, asa kagapuyo, then you go to other places just to relax. So that's the start of the development of tourism as a leisure activity. So when you go to another place, ato kaglaing lugar, for instance, you're from Cebu and you want to relax ato kag Dumaguete. So you are leaving your personal dwelling, your work, and you go to Dumaguete. So kinsa may bulahan sa imong kwarta, mga taga Dumaguete kay dito makamu-spend. So when you spend for food, when you spend for transportation, when you spend for groceries in Dumaguete, you are actually investing or helping these industries. Number 1, mato kag tourism straight sa Dumaguete, you are investing to that tourist specific activity. If you go to Robinsons or Superli or sa Changi sa Dumaguete, you're investing on the economy sa Dumaguete when you buy your goods. Musakay ka o pedicab, Easy Ride or Ceres Diaz Dumaguete, you are investing on the transportation sector. So kini iyang gihisgutan din niya, it involves consumption and commercial activities. It is one of the most important thing because tourism as a general is a umbrella nga dagang kay mga industries ang under. So, where there is tourism activity in your locality, kung imong nang i-develop, daghag mga mabulahan. Ang problema lang karon sa local government units because they don't see tourism as a major player in contributing to their economy. Daghan kay mga lungsod, nindot kay mga lugar, pero why mga tourism activities? Kay para nila tourism is not lucrative industry. Para nila ang negosyo ra argid sa Changi. Ang negosyo ra kanang nara sa bukid. That's what we call as limiting beliefs. In the tourism industry, when you see sa dagat, you develop a tourism activity. Moadto ka sa bukid, you develop a tourism activity. Kung naa ka sa patag, what can I develop as a tourism activity? Kay para additional income sa ako ang lungsod ug syudad. The problem is, ang ato ang mga leaders, sobraan na pod kapag probinsya ng utok, that they don't expand their minds to the possibility of tourism as a central and a major source of economic drive. Dumaguete, of course, we have Mayor Epe, daghan kay siya mga plans, that's why daghan kay siya mga projects nga pangbuhat. In Baay City, of course, na namadaan ang dolphin watching. Sa Manuhid, maaro pa ilagi sa ligat. Of course, nasa San Jose, okay na kay namadaan before pa. But what else have you been doing? How can we improve? When you create tourism, there is a demand immediately. Bitaw na nga kay mga tourist attraction na mga dalan gigama, kay that's a contribution of the government. Kung naa kay tourism activities sa usa ka lugar, na mga tindahan nga namang sulpot sa sigkakilid. Because that's creating demand. That's number 1, ha? Okay. Number 2, tourism industry Ako sa i-share akong screen, guys. Kaya nawala akong screen. Let me just share it again. All right. So number 2, tourism industry meets and spreads demand. Tourism is important as its industry value chain meets and spread demand across many industries and therefore boost more economic activities. Mata kung ingon ninyo. When there is a tourism development, when there is a tourism master plan, involve yun tanan mga aspects sa imong locality. So, nani mo gawas nga, akong pag-ingon, a chain of demand across many industries. Pag-abot pa na sa pantalan, involved na ang transportation sector. Sa barko, sa easy ride, sa series, there's a transportation. Or nakakay van nga imong giabangan. Kay gigutom ang turista ay di lang sa tamo ato sa kuan kay mo palit sa kundi sa eskina og pamahaw. So bulahan pod ang nanda o nga pagkaon din ha. Okay, sakay na ta sir kay moadto na ta sir kay alas 8 ang imong check-in. Sakay sila. Abot sila sa hotel. Tourism industry, hotel ang tagya sa hotel. Ay ma'am, asa man ta pwede ba kapalit din og load o magawas siya kay naay 7-Eleven sa gawas. Balik siya, sige matug sa ako, pahaway sa ako, pagmata na ako, i-pick up ako din niya, kidat ako dito sa mall or whatever. Diba? Dagang mga industries ang ma-appeal. Ikaw nga naaon niya puhon sa tourism industry, what do you want to be? Do you want to be part of the business sector who nga maningkamot nga makakwarta ka sa tourism activity? Nabaka ka sa pag-develop og mga tour, nabaka sa transportation, nabaka sa food, maghimo ba ka og small nga inn or hotel sa imong lugar? Depende nimo. It's up to you. Di lang kay kamo trabaho lang apan mahimo kag negosyo. Kung mas dako man ka wa may madato kung magsida ka og trabaho. Man mas maayo nga magnegosyo ka. But unsa man yo pagtan-aw, pag-widen sa imong huna nga this could be a possible nga earning opportunity kung mao ka kay bawo ni mga butang. So let's go to the next importance of tourism. So the next importance of the tourism is kini. Number 3, tourism requires countries' wholesome development. Key point ani makigalan is wholesome development. A country needs to provide tourist attractions with infrastructure. Importante ha. Wholesome development of infrastructure and facilities to attract and make tourists grow. So that makes it a tourism importance. For example, I don't know if nakaadto na mo og sa to siya katong mga waterfalls sa buwan ba to sa Oslob. When nag-honeymoon mi sa akong asawa didto, was it somewhere in Oslob or some buwan, I forgot. Yan to be of course na may highway. Pagpadung na nimo dito sa sulod, naidalan, simentado ang daan. Pag-abot nimo dito sa site, naday mo sugat nimo nga mga tour guides. Mo na sila gibayaran sa munisipyo to guide the tourists go to the reception area. I-guide mo, then naapoy laing mga tourist guides, no? Kini mga tourist guides na sila flat rate. When we say flat rate, kana bang ilang inyo yung bayaran, for example, for your entire tour, yung bayaran niya is minimum nimo is 250. For example, lang nakalimot ako, 250. So mao na ilang pagayon kay mo nagitagi naman ni resibo. Pero naran nimo kung imo punan ang imuhang guide kung mahimo bag 300, 500 depende nimo sa imong generosity. So, ano lang na set up ang gobyerno, ang national government may naggama sa highway because the highway is under national government, under the Department of Public Works and Highways, so sila gagama ng dalan. So imo sig reklamo ang dalan highway sa inyong mga lokalidad, sa inyong syudad o lungsod kay di na ila. Ang responsibility lang sa syudad or lungsod ang city or municipal roads niyo kanang secondary roads, dili ang highway. So pag human nila adto sila sa eskina na napoy dalan na simentado, kis magagamaan na possible ang barangay o ang munisipyo or syudad. Pag abot nimo sa area, kisa binagbayad itong mga muhangop, mga dawat sa mga turista, ang munisipyo o ang syudad. Okay? Kisa may nag-protect nga ma-maintain ang kanindot sa falls, ang syudad o ang probinsya. So, government as a whole should provide infrastructure, pasabot, dalan, mga utilities or facilities, apil na anak, probably kung nasa sila CR, unsa pa din ha, o nasa sila mga building that they would provide for tourists for orientation or for emergency purposes. Kay mo pag adto na mo atong falls kay pila to ka levels, 5 levels man to, narami sa 3 levels na guy. Naa sila gihatag pod nga kuan dito baga mga equipment, na sila yung mga helmet, na sila yung mga vest, pero ang gahatag ana dili ang local, ang gahatag ana ang national government. So depende unsay contribution sa government sa usa ka tourism activity. But ikaw, if you are in the tourism industry, unya ikaw may gitahasan nga to develop a tourism activity, kinanundumin mo nga pwede jud ka makapangay og budget gikan sa imong locality. Kung why kwarta ang locality kay dili priority project, moadto ka sa Department of Tourism. Kay Department of Tourism na asli mga grants na asli panghatag ang mga ayuda ngadto sa locality kay para makabaton mo og inyong mga equipment or matagaan mo og kwarta aron pag-develop sa inyong area. Number 3, pwede mo moadto sa inyong provincial government. For instance, in Cebu, tourism is one of the major industries nga gisuportaan sa capital. So if mo ato ka sa capital, mangayaw ka dito og ayuda because I want to develop this area as a tourism attraction, most likely there's a budget or there's also a plan to develop that. So mangita kag paagi. If wala gyud kay walay kwarta ang Kapitolyo, kay pobre ang Kapitolyo, mangita ka og private individuals nga mo donate aron ma-develop nimo ang area or mangita ka grants. Asa man ka mangita grants? Mangita kag agencies or non-government organizations nga mohatag nimo og financial assistance to develop your area. Kay nga naman, mohatag na sila og assistance kay para community development ba na. So don't limit yourself sa imong hunahuna nga wa kay kwarta wa kay magbuhat because there's always a way to find money, especially if your project is for the people and for the country. Karon, kamo, you are scholars of Timsko's Institute of Technology. Kaya ay gihatag opportunity ng gobyerno. Uban wa kay bawani magsigla check ingon hala di ko ka eskwela. Hala wa may kwarta. Unsa na ko pag eskwela? Unsa pagpatiwas sa akong anak? Wa mo mangita. Man na lang mo kay nagkapangita mo, you're with team skills and you're giving the opportunity. And you being students of tourism, you are part of the wholesome development of the country as future tourism experts. Diba? You're part of it. You're part of the infrastructure designed by government under TESDA nga kamo mo dala unya sa tourism industry sa inyong mga localities. Or you will be part of the tourism workforce. You are part of the facilities in the future nga kamo mo serve, kamo mo plan, kamo mo inaas mga barko, kamo inaas sa mga hotels, kamo mo receive sa mga turista. You're part of the industry right now while you're still studying. Gigastuan mo sa gobyerno, gitagaan mo og allowance, araw mo eskwela mo, kapag you will be part of the solution of the government sa problema nga ilang nakitaan long years ago. That's why it is important for wholesome development for infrastructure and facilities for the tourism industry. That's number 3. Let's go to number 4. So sa may number 4. Okay, let me just share my screen. Kaya nawa na po akong screen, guys. So what is number 4? Number 4 is this one. Okay. So number 4, motivates to reach global standards. So kasi pasabot ani, the infrastructure and facilities needed to be global standards because tourists are a global consumer. This makes tourism important as it improves quality standards in our country. So key points, global standards. Di ba ang locality or ang province or national government mo gasto for infrastructure and facilities, basic no. Kay kunya kanang ilang buhaton mga projects unta global standards unta, dili unta pichi-pichi. Kasi pasabot ang pichi-pichi sir oy. Kada bang muhimo lang kag proyekto unya way klaro. Muhimo kag proyekto pero makuba dayon linugog ka usa, bahaog ka usa wa na. When you design your tourist activities, di lang po ka mo design nga inato lang. Well, naay mga tourism activities nga inato gyud so that the tourists themselves can experience the true culture, the unique culture of that area. Kana for example, ka i-develop nga tourism activity. Ang imong tourism activity, for example, in Tanhay, unsaon pagkaon og budbud sa Tanhay? Okay. Ang mga turista di kamo mo kaon og budbud sa Tanhay because di ka kamo mo abli sa budbud. Wa pud sila kay baw sa mo kaon og budbud sa Tanhay. Of course, if you are LGU nga abli ang imong nahuna for opportunities, imong imuon nga part sa sa tourism route, if there is a tourism route in Tanhay, pagkaon pa lang og budbud sa Tanhay. So what's the best time to eat the budbud of Tanhay? Adto kag Tiangge sa Tanhay, sayos kadlawon. Mga alas 5, alas 6. Pukawan gud imong turista, sir. Tomorrow you will set for a budbud Tanhay eating experience. So experience man na, guys, ha? Experience. Inko, what time should it be? It will be as early as 6 a.m., sir. You can take your bath, or you'll take your bath later na lang after you eat budbud. So ikaw, datunin mo sa dikto, and there will be someone, a tour guide, to explain the delicacy, why this was made, when was this made, and why is budbud the ideal pasalubong for people when you go to Tanhay. And you also would want to orient them how to open the budbud. For some, it is, kuan nga pa, try to open budbud. The tourist would say, no, I cannot, I don't know how to open this. Can you help me? Tabangan mo, ipakita nimo. Okay, this is just budbud, sir. Budbud is best paired with, unsa man, sikwate. What is sikwate? It's cocoa. Sweetened with mascubado sugar. Yan apan kay mangga. Nya, ang experience mo Tiangge gyud. May pagkabaho gyud kaya ka Tiangge. But that's the experience. You want them to experience locally. But of course, globally, when it sense that anyone can go. It's clean. Sa mga global standards, clean, hospitable ang mga tao, the security is good. So there are a lot of aspects that you have to consider the tourism industry. Sa kung maingon, a tourism activity should be at par with global standard. When we say at par, abot ni ang global standards, reach ni mo ang global standards. Because every tourist is a global tourist. Pasabot, that tourist would want to experience global standards, quality hospitality, quality experience, quality food, but in the confines of a local experience. For instance, katong story sa budbud sa Tanhay. That's why it's important to improve the quality standards of the country. Mao na nga, if you develop a tourism activity, di lang kay ato lang nga you are not prepared. Nga magkabuang pa ka na imong turista, magkabuang pa ka, no. When you develop a tourism activity, everything should be prepared. Naana ang transportation. Naana ang mudawat nga muyaw dili kay pag-abot pa lang nimo ikaw studio. No. Pag-abot pa lang ni dawato na studio diretso. Andam ng plato, andam ng budbud, andam ng sikwati, andam na ang mangga. Everything should be prepared. Because that's a standard. Prepared king ano. We will see later the disadvantages of tourism and travel. Usa sa mga problema sa mga turista is that taas kay nga travel time consuming. Yan ay mga laygay nga mga program nga Filipino time. Dugay kay magsugod. And for foreign tourists, that's very bad. Nga mulaag ka, then malangay ka, kadugay magsugod, they are nag-apas sa oras. So, global standards, on time. Or before the time, makastart gamay. Everything should be standard of the world. Dito i-appeal na to ato ang mga Filipino, mga negative Filipino traits and cultures. Maglangay-langay, magunya-unya pa, magtuluray-tuluray, dili na. That's number 4. Okay? So let's go to number 5. Ano sa may number 5, guys? Okay, let me just share my screen to you. Okay, here. Number 5. Tourism induces more consumption. Tourists wants to enjoy and experience to the fullest and bring back memories, hence are inclined to do more and therefore consume more. So tourism becomes important by inducing consumption for related industries. Kasi pasabot ani. Kung layhan ang turista sa iyang experience, posible nga, sir mo, for instance, jet ski. Nabat jet ski dire? Murag naada guys in Darwin area and Dumaguete. Mag-jet ski ka, sir, 1 hour to. Sir, pwede ko mo punog 2 hours? Sir, asa tong pagkaon na atong nakaon tong kagahapon sa mood 2? Balik na dito kaon. Sir, nindot lagi to ang kuan, budbud sa Tanhay. Pwede itong bag sa Tanhay. Pat ko 2 ka dosina, kay budbud, kaya akong dado sa amo. Ano ba gani? So that's it. By exposing them to the experience, they would look for more. They would want to experience more. Pagkaan, they want to eat more. For example, when I went to Bacolod, because gitagaan mig libre nga travel sa abo ang kauban, ni adto mig Bacolod, mi adto mi sa the ruins, ni adto mi sa kampuestuhan and all. Pagpadayon uli namo ni agi mi og usa ka tindahan nga namaligya og mga pasalubong. That's Mercy Madagana o si pangalan, I forgot. Of course, piyaya nga ube because that's my favorite ube, barquillos and everything. But usa ka pagkaon ni di jud ako malimtan ko sa iyang kalami is marsilyones. Kakaon na mo marsilyones? I hope nakakaon ng marsilyones. These are square crepes kanang murag baga. Ni ko siya, may pag-iana ka baga, then mura siya og siyang crepes nga crunchy kay siya, din naa siya toppings nga I don't know what that call is. So lami kay siya. So every time when I talk about Bacolod and magisgot kay kaog din siyang pasalubong ang musud sa kong utok, marsilyones good kay mo may lami para nako, di ba? If you went to a place and ganahan ka sa pagkaon, imo jud hinumduman ang lugar. If you have went to a place and namian ka sa ilang pagluto sa inasal o pagluto sa humba o pagluto sa unsa mga pagkaon, makinumdum jud ka ng lugar. Okay. Adto kog dubagete, adto ko sa painitan. For of course, kay taga-Tanhay man ko naman may kagalingong painitan, mas sikat man ang budbud kaysa budbud ninyo Dumaguete. Or lahi po ng budbud ito sa manhuyod or sa Mabinay. Lahi ba? So, when you like the experience, when you like the food, of course, you would want more. Okay? And when they want more of this experience and this food, makagastos sila. So pasabot kung makagastos sila, kwarta na pod para sa mga tao. 'Di ba? Ingan ang cycle. Ayog ingon nga wala kining nabadi mo gasto ana. Wa pa mo ka design kung unsa na nga tourism activity. So once you finally decide on that specific tourism activity, mamira na pod kag mga tao to experience. Kung nakay bag-o nga tourism activity, don't expect that people would just come to you. Well, naa kay mga marketing activities. For example, imo pabandilyo sa radyo. Magbutang kag mga tarpaulins dira leading to the area. Naghimo kag mga video vlogs or mga write-ups or whatever. Gamiton gid mo tanan all of the aspects, but of course lahi na siya na kurso makiglan. Specialty na pud ako communication and marketing. But unsa may buhaton nimo kung bag-o ka? You ask people to experience it. Libre. Malibrihan yun nimo. Apil na sa ibong plan, apil na sa ibong investment. Kung nakay bagong tourism activity, for example, nakay-open nga resort. Kinahanglan pa din imong resort, di po na siya pitsi-pitsi lang po na resort nga mga siminto ra po di mo gipanggama dira nga mura ra po wala. So your resort should be theme resort. Kasi pa sa theme resort, ay theme. Usab na imong theme resort, Harry Potter ba na, Paw Patrol ba na, Ocean Park ba na? So you should have your own brand. Nga pag-adto sa mga tao, taga-Tanhay o taga-Asa, taga-Negros ba, hala kanindot. Wa pa ko experience ani, that's your goal. Wa pa ko ka-experience ani. Kung libre pa na, open house ka, okay, paligo ka for one day. After one day, ana, nag-post na mga tao sa iyong Facebook, wow, kanindot aning nga resort. Wow, mabalay jud ko ani. Wow, libre pa, dali pangaligo nang din blah blah blah. Mas powerful gyud ang referrals. That's what we call as referrals. Kung ganahan ang tao sa imong service mo, balik siya, din na pa siya danon mga tao. Labi na ron ka na sa Facebook. For example, if you post pictures, copy this caption with the hashtag blah blah blah. Gawas din na. Mas iya pag tag friends. Depende na po na makiglalay na po na siya na kurso, no? So these are just few of the things that could improve your experience in the tourism industry. Okay? So, data lang ni mga kagalaan. Let me just show you the next slide. These are just data. When we say data, mga datos lang ni siya that would give you a perspective. So, why tourism matters? Because it contributes to the following. Water consumption, we have the utilization of roads, utilization of air assets. When you say air assets, kanang mabiyahe kag eroplano. Okay? Road, magamit sila og road for the travels. 27% are those people who are visiting friends and relatives for health, region, and other. Sa pasabot, kada mo biyahe ka, mo bisita ka, manghigala, manglaag mo, 27% apil na nang mobiyahe kay mo hospital sa laing lugar. For example, kung hospital ka dis Dumaguete ni refer ka Cebu adto ka dito. This is part of it. Business and professional, of course, mas dako kay naman sa mas kwarta. Mas dako man nilang kwarta, so mas daghan sila. So they travel for meetings, for symposiums, and other things. Leisure, kalingawan. Okay? And other stuff. Next data that I will be showing to you. Okay. So mga yung mga points that you have to consider when you plan for anything. So they gitawag cultural preservation. Ato na yung sigutan before. You preserve the culture and make it as a tourism experience. Environmental protection. When you develop a tourism activity or site, you ensure that the environment is protected para mahimo siyang sustainable. And also, your effort of environmental protection can also be a tourism activity. Okay? For example, na kay watershed, pasapot ang watershed makigilan kada protected nga kalasangan, magbutang ka drag mga tanom kay para mahimo na siya og natural watershed nga pag-uwan, musip nga to sa yuta ang tubig then mo adto sa natural reserva sa yuta aron na atay mainom na tubig, no? So, apil mo sa imong tourism activity nga magtanom sila kahoy or mag-trekking ka dito kay nindot kay ang lugar. So that could be. Kung naa kay lucrative or maayo nindot kay nga tourism activity, na there's peace and security. Para sa Bohol, wala na yung mga rebelde kay naa may daghang mga trabaho to gumikan sa tourism. That would relate to the next thing, which is jobs, creation of jobs. Yeah, when there is jobs, when there is industry moving, na economic growth so sa lugar. Then if there is economic growth, makita sa gobyerno nga na ay kwarta, na ay mga movement, dekagtaw, of course, invest ka for development. Mga dalan, mga tulay, and everything. So these are just few of the things that I would like to share you today. So this is just first part of our discussion. And let me show you this video. This video is what I pray and I aspire and dream for you guys that you want to be part of. This is the tourism of the Philippines. Asa ka mo pwede? Asa ka mo pwede nga may expert? Asa ka mo pwede nga maka-negosyo or makatrabaho niini? All right. So, klaro ka ay makikilaan that the tourism industry is very dako. Lapad kay siya, and you might want to be part of it. Diba? So, unfortunately lang, wala maapil dito Negros Oriental no, sa mga places that they are recommended to be one of the top tourism areas. So, that's how far we are compared to the other provinces. So that's the first part of our discussion on the importance of tourism. Next time will be other practical tips and informations about this topic. All right. So thank you very much. Don't forget to make your attendance and wait for instructions on our activity or our test next time. Bye-bye. Have a wonderful day.